no one likes WWE 2K's Myfaction mode. You already knew that. So why does the internet seemingly get triggered whenever there's mention of it online or after 2K posts an advertisement for it? Why do people care? Well, let's look back at the beginning, shall we? The 2K wrestling franchise came back after its much needed hiatus from the debacle of 2K20. There's some bright spots within 2K20 if you go back and take a look. There's also a lot of this. In 2K22, we saw many things like new gameplay style, different controls, updated models and graphics, and of course, Myfaction. This online mode, when it launched, well, offline in 2K22, online later, but it's just play by yourself at first. It's where you can go through daily and weekly challenges involving a seamlessly never-ending grind to get a different digital card with the goal to get them all. I'm so very confused by the logic of this too, don't worry. New regular content drops featuring updated superstars that were locked in this one feature. And when this came out in 2K22, it seemed like no one cared, no one played it, or no one wanted it. And players often say, why? Why do this? Why can't we just get what we want?
Give me what I want.
What players want seems to be something like this. A wrestling game that's fun, that has great match types, fun modes, and makes you feel like you're having fun playing the wrestling game that you bought.
Do you like money? Video game developers.
Big roster you bought one time, and you bought the good and the bad with it. And sometimes it's really bad.
That's all she wrote.
But even those bad experiences are kind of nostalgic and make you feel all warm and tingly, despite all the many issues in the just outlandish control scheme. But with one game on disc, only that game for you to be able to play. Players loved it, and they still love it today. No inundation when it comes to microtransactions, advertisements, Twitter posts, even turning on the game and not being blindsided with all the messages and notifications of everything you need to buy and play right now before you just play the actual game you bought. The only barrier we ever experienced was when you'd have to go and rent one of the games at Blockbuster, and then you'd have to have the awkward conversation with the man or the girl at the counter and talk about No Mercy. And then they'd mention Hulk Hogan for some reason as their reference point. And then you'd move on. So as we fast forward with the 2K franchise, Take-Two Interactive did the only logical thing. They did it again. But this time, more cards, more towers, and more exclusive content on a regular basis. But at what cost? Well, you might say it's free, and you are correct. It is free. You can grind out every single possible tower or faction war or event to unlock as much as possible, but all the cards you use your points towards are randomized, and the odds aren't great you're gonna get what you want. The other option is pay, but the virtual currency is a very interesting option here for players. You can grind it out for free, or skip the line just by buying all of the packs with real money. So as an example here, we take a look at the Dynamic Duos pack with 5 cards, and it will cost you 16,500 in virtual currency. Now, if your virtual currency balance is already set at 0, no problem. You can use your credit card and buy the VC to get the pack. Except there is one problem. The lowest purchasable VC pack is 15,000 VC for $6.99 here in Canada. I'm no math wizard, but that's a little too low. But what you can do is go to the next pack they offer, a 32,500 VC pack for $13.49 Canadian. So that would get me one pack, and then I'm just short by 500 VC to buy a second pack. I see what you did there, 2K. There's some naughty business you got going on there. Now, you can go ahead and just grind it out, and then you'll have enough points for a second pack. But the point is, we just spent nearly $14 to get 10 cards, and those card packs would only come with 2 superstar cards, and the rest being plates, logos, and other perks for the mode. Now, I could be a freak and just spend $134 Canadian for 400,000 VC. That seems a little excessive. And to add more context here for a player that may be getting 2K23 now, maybe looking at 2K24, the Icon Edition at full retail price is $160.99 Canadian.
It's all about the money.
It's nearly $200 for the game, but players don't get everything. And by that, I mean the locked exclusive content. But who cares? What's wrong with the game mode having exclusive content behind it?
No, don't like that.
The mode needs to attract players to jump in and log the hours and play and buy more digital content before the next game comes out, and then just start the vicious cycle all over again. But there are a couple of problems here. Content is locked. Whether you are only inputting your own time and trading that for digital rewards, or inputting your own money for the reward, it's all locked. And that seems to be the start of where players feel there's a big problem. A large portion of you may believe, I just don't turn it on, I don't need the reward, I just play the base game. Fantastic, that's great. But this model of virtual currency and microtransacting the consumer is only continuing to escalate. Players are not only getting the raw end of the deal by having the game server shut down in January the following year. By having the server shut down, you can no longer access the online marketplace, the DLC content, or use the remaining virtual currency you may have in your account, thus making your investment of time, and most likely your money too, being wasted. A recent lawsuit did come out against Take-Two Interactive and 2K regarding their microtransactions and their policy. The plaintiff claims that there's theft by the company because they spent the money in the game with the virtual currency, but it doesn't transfer to another account or to the next year's title. It's simply lost. Now, something like this can be quite complicated, and it's not the first time the gaming industry is scrutinized for their policies. And we do have the user agreements and the terms of services when you play these games, which none of us are sitting down to go through any of those. We go down on the right stick.
That's what she said.
All the way, scroll to the bottom and hit our check marks and start playing. And it is likely written and clear in the terms of service that it's not transferring and you won't get your money back. Just buy the new game and start over.
Just do it!
One possible solution here for players going forward within the world of 2K and WWE games, if they continue to carry this license going forward, they need to be able to adapt to the marketplace and the player feedback. Now, the player count is unknown for Myfaction, and we also don't know how much revenue the microtransaction aspect of it is making for the company. By all accounts, it's doing well. Why? Because the mode continues to carry on. If they're getting the engagement they want, they're gonna continue to do it. And we see this for years within 2K on the NBA 2K side of things, to the point where they're advertising essentially slot machines for the game. Yes! And they're putting out battle passes in NBA 2K as well.
Is this not getting out of control?
Practices that I feel are going to be detrimental to the game, and in the world of wrestling, fans are passionate, they love that experience, they want to play their brand new wrestling game every year, and they will. And they should enjoy it. But nickel and diming the player every which way, whether it is through a Myfaction mode, a digital card collecting, crazy prices for virtual currency that are all mapped out in a certain way that's going to force you to essentially have to buy even more to get or possibly get the opportunity to gain the rewards you want, is not a good move. And the fear I have for players is that whether they are grown adults playing the game or they just choose not to engage in that, I also fear for younger audiences that are out there that are putting time into this, that are going to their parents, that are asking them to put money into these things, and they're spending and spending and spending because it has that enabling hook in there. You're getting that hit of dopamine every time you unlock a pack, and you want to be able to do it again for the opportunity to get the digital card that you want. But who cares, right? That's the point here. Who cares? Everyone should. At least a little, because this isn't going away. At least be mindful of these things enough to make the best decision for yourself. And if it is worth the investment of your time, possibly the money you have too.